go ahead and start our, our presentation. I want to introduce Danielle Budz. Danielle is our senior consultant from Grossman Yanak Ford, and she's going to do the webinar today on NetSuite's copy to account feature. So Danielle, go ahead and start your presentation.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're
Hello,
welcome.
everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. As Rhonda discussed, the feature that we're going to cover today is NetSuite's copy to account feature. Just a quick agenda. We're going to go over a feature overview, the requirements in the system setup, go through the process, discuss some efficiencies and limitations, walk through a demo, and then open it up for questions and answers. So just to give you an overview of the features, so the copy account is an administrative tool that NetSuite offers that allows you to directly copy a custom record and move it in between accounts using the SuiteCloud Development Framework. This feature used to be in beta, but now is out of beta and offered as a feature that you can turn on in your accounts. And what it does, it provides an alternative solution for you to bundle or migrate your data in between environments without having to use the standard SuiteBundler. It really gives you the flexibility to copy any object as long as it isn't locked or hidden or a part of another Suite app. And a really great tool or option is that it is available in your production account, development, and your sandbox accounts in which you have administrator access to. It really gives you the flexibility to select what accounts you want to move, the customization from identify the dependencies that are related to either Save Search or a workflow. And you can also include the instances, for instance, on a custom record list. And then it gives you the ability to preview what you're looking at and then deploy it. So next, I'm going to go over the actual requirements. So as discussed earlier, you do need to have the administrator role access. In your accounts, you want to make sure that the SuiteCloud Development Framework is enabled, as well as the copy to account feature is enabled. And then the last topic, or the last requirement, is matching NetSuite account versions. So as the new release is coming up to the 2021.1, there might be a little bit of a lag between when your production environment or your sandbox development environments are on the same version. So that will be a reason, for instance, if you saw that it wasn't available to perform in both environments. So the setting up in the system, you navigate to enable features, and on the SuiteCloud tab, you can make sure that you have the SuiteCloud Development Framework enabled along with the copy to account feature. The features must be enabled in all of the accounts that you're planning on deploying to in production or sandbox and or development. The next step I'm going to go over is the actual process. So whenever you identify the custom object that you want to move, for instance, say a field that you created, if you navigate to that record, you'll see in the right-hand corner there will be a copy to account link. Once you click on that link, it will bring up the copy to account wizard, and that's where you'll identify the account. You'll choose the target account in which you want to deploy the customization to, and you will assign a name, a unique name for audit trail purposes. The next step is you will see a list of the dependencies, and it will show in a hierarchical view, and you can identify and see, is this record already present in the account that you are moving this customization to, or if it's absent, and then you can specify whether you want to include or exclude that object or the dependencies in the process. The next step will be previewing. So it will just validate that, just checking, can this object be copied and deployed successfully in the account? And if there are any errors or anything, it would just take you back to the dependencies where you can specify, you know, if there are things that you don't want to bring over, or as I said, if there were things that were locked or partially supported. And then once you go through the preview and it shows that it's successful, then you can go to the deployment and actually deploy the custom object into the account. One thing I did want to note though is when you deploy it into, if the target account is a production account, that you are modifying, if you are bringing over instances, you are modifying live account data. So after you proceed with the deployment, there isn't a way to cancel or undo your changes. If you do have to make any modifications, or say, you know, you don't want, if in the future, if you want to delete that record or things that have been created, you can go in and delete that object at that time. The next thing I want to talk about was efficiencies. So the copy to account feature really reduces the efforts of having to go through the steps of creating a bundle. It allows you to quickly be able to move customizations in between environments for use or for testing, and really gives you the ability to select what you want to bring over. And also allows you, if you want to include instances of that custom record, the copy to account feature supports up to 1,000 instances of that, the custom records. Limitations, we highlighted on a few before. So if an object is locked or hidden or owned by another Suite app, it cannot be copied over. It's only partial or subsets of the field cannot be copied, or if it's not part of the SDF XML references. But there are definitely a lot of different custom records that are supported through the copy to account feature, which I will be showing you. So the next step is we're going to go through an actual demo of what it looks like in the system. As I discussed, on the presentation, I've included a list of all of the customizations that are supported by the SuiteCloud Development Framework, and you'll see also in Suite Answers there is a reference where you can see all of the different customizations that are supported. So we don't have to go over these in detail, but I will use these as a reference. I know from the standpoint of like fields and custom records, workflows, it is very nice to be able to use the copy to account feature. So the next step I wanted to go through is actually performing it in NetSuite. So once you have identified that custom object that you would like to copy, move into a different account, you can navigate to that record and you'll see in the top right-hand corner, there will be a link that says copy to account. So once you select that, it will open up the copy to account wizard. So on the copy to account, this is where you'll specify the target account that you want to move the customization to. Down below, I've included a screenshot that shows that if the feature is not enabled in the account that you have admin access to, you'll see that it will be grayed out and it won't be available for selection. All you would have to do is log into that account and enable those features, and then you'll be able to select that target account. In the deployment audit trail name, like I said, you can just put a unique name just for logging and purposes, so that you know what you are moving into production or into that account. The next step is going to be looking at the dependencies. So on the dependencies, it will show you the name of the customization along with the type of records, and then the status. It'll say, is it present in the target account or is it absent in the target account? If it's present in the target account, you have the ability to decide whether you want to include it or exclude it. And then additionally, what we were discussing earlier about include instances, there are instances of the custom record that you do want to bring into production, you can flag that. If a dependency is absent in the target account, that will be required. You won't have the option. It will automatically default it to be brought over. So once the dependencies have been decided of what you want to include and exclude, you'll go into the preview step. So in the preview step, this is where it's going to go through and validate that it can successfully bundle and move over the custom objects. And down here, you'll see there is the deployment preview, and it is actually saying it's complete and we're all successful. Now, if there are any errors, like I said, it would flag those lines, and then you can go back and troubleshoot. The next step really, so once the preview has been completed and validated, is moving forward with deploying it into production or into the target account. And you will see in here, it'll have show the information of what's being moved, and will show if it has been successful. And you'll see there will be a validation green check mark saying the deployment is complete. And then after the fact, if you do want to view a log of the customizations, the deployment trail, you can navigate into that target account and go to customization, SuiteCloud Development, Deployment Audit Trail. And you can download a log of the customization that you've brought over into the account. That is the copy to account feature. I want to open it up to any questions that you guys have. Interested to see if anyone's been using it so far and what you think about the feature.
I've actually used it several times before today. On occasion, I have had it crash on the dependencies step. Have you had that experience as well?
Yes, yes. Yeah. And for resolving that, like, were you able to just unselect those specific instances and move forward with it, or?
It actually never even showed me any of the instances that I would have been able to select. It was only whenever I was trying to migrate like one or two things, not at the same time. It was normally like a custom field that I was trying to migrate over. And I just went into live and created, so it wasn't a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just something that I noticed. I wasn't sure if anybody else had ran into the same issue or not.
Yeah, I have seen that before, and it might be a few things. Like, was it a field that was that you said it wasn't related to any locked or hidden or part of the Suite app? It was a custom field that you created. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
In the past, like, I know this sounds rudimentary, but kind of going back into the record and trying again, because and then also logging. There are, like, in Suite Answers for the different errors, sometimes if it does provide any information in that preview, whenever you're looking here in the preview, we can see like where it's failing to go back in to look at the specific areas.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I had
Okay.
a question.
Go ahead, Mary.
Yeah, I wanted to see, so for our annual budget, we upload it into the sandbox first to kind of review and edit it, and then I move it into production. Could we use this copy feature to move the budget into production from the sandbox?
The budget field, so let's go back to the what's supported. So the budget data would be more so very similar to like the bundling for like using SuiteBundler. There's certain like data that you just have to like import into the system, and budgets would be one that I don't believe it is supported by the copy to account feature just because it is specific like imported data records. But there are, that's a great question. There are a lot of other features that are supported, but budgets would not be one that this feature would work on.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? 2 questions, that's pretty good because typically we have no questions, so that's good. All right. Well, I guess that's it, unless someone else has a question or a comment. Like I said, I recorded it. I will have the presentation. I'm not going to email the presentation out to anyone, but everyone in the group. But if someone wants a copy of it, they can request it. And we, like I said, we will have the webinar recording on our PittNUG website, hopefully next week sometime. So. Danielle, thank you very much. You did a great job. I really appreciate it. Anyone else have any ideas for a webinar or something they would like to see, please reach out to me and we can work on that for March. So with that, this webinar is